From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update. Happy holidays from Weather NorCal and our sponsors. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Meteorologist Mike Krueger. Hope you had yourselves a great Christmas day. We're going into the evening, and you know what? We've got 2 more rounds of rain to go through. Now, it's the same storm system, but we've got 2 more main disturbances that'll be pushing through. The first one will be pushing through this evening. Just shortly before I'm recording this, we can see that there are a few lightning strikes to the south of Humboldt County. By the time you watch this, that will probably have already passed at this point. But we're still going to see the potential for thunderstorms tonight and even tomorrow. So the first round comes through tonight. There may be a little bit of a lull in the activity, and then we'll see that next round come in tomorrow morning. So we take a look at the amount of rainfall that we did see, and again, pretty impressive out towards Chico, 2.15, about a half an inch out at the Redding Airport, and a little less than an inch for Red Bluff and Corning, about a half an inch in Willows, and not very much off towards Modoc County with 0.01, about an inch in Crescent City, Eureka 0.38, and 0.98 in Redway. Now, there were some thunderstorms and some pretty strong ones today, and we could see more of those here as we take you into later tonight and even into tomorrow as well. All right, so let's take a look at your Krueger's Quickcast for your Thursday, December 25th. Yes, it is Christmas Day or Christmas night, and we're getting ready to kind of wrap up that holiday. All right, we of course still have Friday and through the weekend, but you can see the chance for more showers, more thunderstorms, especially in the valley. But we could even see some thunderstorms here along the coast as well here for tonight. Pretty cold even for some of the higher elevations. All right, so out the door tomorrow morning, I think everyone will have a chance of seeing some form of wet weather, whether it's snow above 3,500 feet or that rain, which could be heavy in some spots here. It's showing dry conditions in Modoc County, and that very well may be the case, but that doesn't mean Modoc County will be dry tomorrow because you will see some rain and some snow, obviously, as well. So you can clearly see the area of low pressure spinning off to our west. It's got the speckled clouds. It's drawing in that colder air. So again, we've got those 2 rounds of rain coming in, one this evening, the other one tomorrow morning. So there you can see that round of rain and, of course, that snow in the higher elevations. And then you can see a little bit of a lull in the activity here late tonight, but still looking at more of those showers and thunderstorms possibly for the valley. Then you can see the next round. You can see tomorrow morning, another round of heavier rainfall. And by the way, with that heavier rainfall, you're talking gusty winds too. And I do expect some slightly cooler air to move in. This means snow levels could drop to as low as about 3,000 feet in some cases. So places like Mount Shasta, places like Bernie, I think you may get to see some snowflakes here for tomorrow morning. Then I think it'll level out again, and we'll be looking at the potential of those rising back up to about 3,500 feet. Now, one thing to note with the HRRR forecast model, it is picking up on the strong south winds that we're going to see. It's also picking up on the potential for a convergence line that we could see potentially here for Friday midday, early afternoon. We'll have to watch for that development. Again, I want to stress that what we saw on Sunday, last Sunday, was a unique event with that convergence line. They don't typically last 10 hours long and stay on one place and not wobble around. This one will probably be your standard convergence line. It'll probably be around for a couple of hours, maybe will wobble around a little bit, may cause a little bit of some minor flooding, but overall shouldn't be what we saw, a repeat of what we saw on Sunday. So I do want to stress that, should it even develop, right? But then as we go into Friday night, still some leftover activity, but I do expect drier conditions as we go into the weekend. So let's talk about the winds. They are going to be gusty tonight. They are going to be gusty again tomorrow morning, and even midday on Friday, you can still see gusts easily over 30 miles per hour, especially in the valley, but they start to subside by Friday evening, Friday night. All right, so for tomorrow, more rain, more thunderstorms, more snow in the mountains, more wind. Temperatures still on the cool side, only reaching the upper 40s for the valley, and mainly in the upper 30s to low 40s for the higher elevations. So your 7-day forecast, there it is, that wet weather for the valley. And again, maybe a stray thunderstorm as well, drying out by the weekend. And it looks like through most of next week looking fairly dry. However, look at the coast. See, we've included a chance for showers near the end of next week, and it looks like that could be the case for everyone by maybe next Friday, but of course that's still a long ways out. Bottom line is we're getting a well-deserved, and I would say even a needed break from the wet weather here, and it's going to be a pretty good stretch, and then we'll eventually maybe see some rain down the line after that. But there you can see snow levels somewhere tomorrow between 3,000 and 3,500 feet. All right, so here's what we're really tracking here as we just take a look at our weather headlines. The flood risk continues for one more day, tonight and tomorrow, as these heavier bands of rain come in. It's going to be mainly the minor flooding that we've seen here. Now, it's going to be another windy night and day for tomorrow. Now, snow could drop to as low as 3,000 feet for tonight and into tomorrow morning, and maybe even locally lower before leveling out somewhere around 3,500 feet for the rest of the day on Friday. Drier weather is still on tap for this weekend and even early next week. All right, that's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast. Now let's really dive into what we've got with these next series, or this next last storm that's passing through, and what we can expect as we go into this upcoming weekend and even that next week in our deeper dive forecast, which is sponsored by Shasta Hearing Aids.
Frank, come help with the dishes.
What?
The dishes!
I heard it the first time. I just got back from Shasta Hearing Aids, but she doesn't know it yet. What?
Forget it.
All right, so starting off with the satellite image here as we kind of really dive into this is, this is really just a classic winter storm that we're experiencing right now. You can clearly see this area of low pressure right here spitting away. Colder air coming in from Canada, kind of getting wrapped up within that area of low pressure. You can also see that subtropical moisture, unfortunately, going into Southern California, where they've seen some flooding issues and concerns. Not as much for us, obviously, but this right here, kind of two things that I'm looking at. So this is what's moving in this evening right here. See that batch of clouds? That's the disturbance. This one looks like it may be the next one that kind of wraps around here, but really overall what we're going to see is some redevelopment coming in behind this. That'll be coming up in that flow directly into Northern California and will be here by early tomorrow morning. So there is relief in sight. Okay, so there's that storm system. That's Friday. It passes through on Friday, so we still have the wet weather as a result and gusty winds. But by Saturday into Sunday, look what happens. We start to see high pressure begin to build in. That's Saturday, Sunday. It takes you even into early next week and possibly even through close to the end of next week. So yes, we're going to dry things out, and I think it's going to be a welcomed and really, quite honestly, a needed break. So here we are this evening. There's that kind of the next batch of rain coming in. Now, we're going to see some colder air usher in as well, and I'd say that overnight tonight, snow levels could drop down to as low as, say, 3,000 feet, as I mentioned, maybe locally lower. So there's Friday morning. There's another round of some heavy rainfall, maybe some thunderstorms, gusty winds, snow, as I mentioned, around 3,000 feet. Now, this is when we could start running into some bigger problems for maybe even I-5. You see the snow right there around Mount Shasta? There could possibly be some chain requirements. Now, you'll notice as we take a look at Highway 36, in fact, this evening there are chain requirements on Highway 36. So we're beginning to see those snow levels get a little bit lower. We take a look at Highway 299, though. We're not seeing much in the way of snow there. But obviously, Scott Mountain Pass, yes, snow there. And there will eventually be that snow pushing through the eastern mountains and more chain requirements there. But take note, remember I was mentioning they're going to drop a little bit tonight and early tomorrow morning, then level back off a little bit here and kind of rise, because you can see here by the early mid-afternoon, it's more in the way of rain over Mount Shasta, right? And then, of course, more in the way of rain. And behind it, it's starting to kind of dry out a little bit here. So as we go into tomorrow night, we still have a little bit of leftover snow flurry activity off to the east. Maybe a leftover shower Saturday morning, but really we're drying things out for Saturday. There may be some morning fog to start off the day, but there'll still be a bit of a breeze that should scour out any of that fog. And then we're going to go into Sunday, we're going to go into Monday of next week, and we have got dry conditions. And it looks like that could last at least through Wednesday, if not even into Thursday of next week. But, you know, we're talking about drier conditions. We still got to get through these next waves that are being pushing through here tonight and tomorrow. And that's why we still have a flood watch through Friday. With that heavy rain, could lead to some of that localized flooding again. So again, we're kind of on the back edge of this. Once we can get through tomorrow, we should be looking at that break here. So we could be picking up another, I'd say about an inch of rainfall on average for most of the valley. And I'd say maybe a little bit more than that for those of you along the coast. And this is just looking at another different forecast model. Again, a little bit more conservative with those numbers, but bottom line, I'd say about an inch for the valley. There is a wind advisory now. So what's happening is, yes, we've got these gusty winds coming in that probably won't be as strong as what we saw last night. You remember actually it was early this morning out in Orville, that gust of 78 miles per hour. But of course, the winds will still be gusty. We're talking 30, 40 miles an hour, maybe even a little bit stronger than that in some cases. So let's take a look at those wind gusts. There's 8 o'clock tonight. Now we go into tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. You see that? 30, 40 miles per hour in the valley. Not as bad, by the way, for the coast as you can see. And we do have some of those gusty winds in the higher elevations as well. Here's Friday midday. Still pretty gusty, right? And again, remember, we're looking at these south, southwest, southeast winds. If we see enough of that clearing, we could see a bit of that convergence line developing here. We'll see. We'll kind of have to watch that closely. It doesn't always mean if we have a south wind and that moisture, that doesn't always mean you'll see that convergence line, but it certainly is a possibility. And then we go into Friday evening. You see how the winds are starting to subside. And by Saturday, now more of a north wind. And we've got those winds still a little breezy, and they'll probably pick up even a little bit more here for your Sunday, but certainly not the winds that we've seen here. So this is looking at the forecast wind swath. What it does is it takes a time frame now through Friday evening, and it picks up the highest gust that will be anticipated during that time frame. And you can see anywhere from 30 to a little over 40 miles per hour. So again, we're looking at this. It's not nearly as intense as what we've seen. All right, now let's switch gears. Let's talk about that snow. We still have that winter storm warning in effect through Friday night in most cases for the higher elevations. The ski park did get to see some snow today, and it's got more snow in the forecast tonight, more snow in the forecast tomorrow, and on top of what we've already seen at the ski park, you're going to pick up 45 inches possibly of snow down at the base of the ski park. All right, let's take a look at those forecast road conditions, and there you can see midnight tonight. So the blue is basically snow, anything that's blue. The dark blue is heavy snow. And then you kind of have that wintry mix when it's kind of the reds and the pinks. So looking at Highway 36, as I mentioned, we're already starting to see some chain requirements on Highway 36 this evening. We could be looking at more tonight. There's a look at Highway 299. The chances look pretty slim for snow there, but we are seeing snow on Scott Mountain. There it is, that wintry mix, but not necessarily snow, even at midnight tonight and even off towards the north and east, but plenty of chain requirements east of I-5. Let's take you into Friday morning at about 5 a.m. Look at that heavier snow band. And the thing is, the snow may be heavy enough that it may turn into snow around Mount Shasta. Highway 36, a mix, maybe even some snow there. Could see some chain requirements and pretty much all snow off to the east at this point. And then we take you into about 8 a.m. on Friday. Again, you can see it's just barely trying to make its way into snow there on I-5 there near Mount Shasta. And we're getting a bit of a wintry mix on Highway 299. So I think this is when we expect some of the coldest air, is late tonight, early tomorrow morning, even at 8 a.m. And then we take you into around midday. Now we're starting to kind of see it moderate a little bit here. Now we're not really seeing that mix on 299, but we're still seeing some of that mix on Highway 36, mix still on I-5, but still some snow off to the east. But then, as I mentioned, we're going to start to see this really begin to kind of break apart and move on out of here by Friday night and Saturday morning. Here are some of my projections that I do expect. These are numbers that I put in here myself. I just, it kind of reaches a point sometimes where it's like they're all over the place and the models tend to have a difficult time. And I tend to have a difficult time too, but here's a general idea of what we've already seen. And I think Mount Shasta City, once all is said and done, especially late tonight, early tomorrow morning, may be able to pick up a couple of inches of snow that will accumulate on the ground. We may see a mix, may see a trace amount of snow make its way into places like Bernie, maybe Shingletown at 3,500 feet. Viola, obviously, you could see several inches, but out towards Fall River Mills and Alturas, maybe 1 to 2. Chester, you could see 4 to 8 inches. Susanville, 1 to 2. Portola, maybe 4 to 8 inches. But Weaverville, Hayfork, I think you'll be lucky to even see a mix of rain and snow, but of course no snow for the valley or for the coast either. All right, let's take a look at what it looks like now for the Sierra, and this is no surprise. We've got heavy snow tonight. Again, you've been hearing about this, that what we're seeing here over the last few days and into tomorrow is several feet of snow accumulating in the Sierra, and for good reason. It's just been getting a lot of snow. That, of course, is going to mean treacherous road conditions. But by midday on Friday, we're starting to see this too begin to dissipate as far as the snow that they're going to see, and that will start to get better. Bottom line, I can show you what the road conditions are expected to be like. I can show you how much snow we're expected to see, but conditions can change rapidly. And what I've done at Weather NorCal here, if you go to weathernorcal.com, scroll down a little bit here, you see where it says road conditions. Click on that image right there. What it will do is it'll take you to this. You can scroll down and you can see a quick glance. I've taken all of the popular cameras, right? And you can very quickly see where it's snowing and where it's not snowing. You've got all the different categories. I-5, quick glance, right? Highway 89 and 97, quick glance at those road conditions. Now, what you're looking at here is not live, but again, it gives you that general idea. And from here too, you can go to Quick Maps too, for the Caltrans Quick Maps. So that's just one nice, convenient location. All right, so here you can see the wave heights. It looks like they are going to start to drop, especially by the time we get into Saturday. All right, so here is your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. Looks like we are going to see those temperatures quite cool in Trinity County. We've still got one more day of that wet weather, and I'd say about 3,500 feet on average for those snow levels drying out for the weekend. And as I mentioned, it could get as low as 3,000 feet at points of time, especially late tonight, early tomorrow morning. For the coast, you've got that wet weather for your Friday, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm, dry for the weekend. Notice on Thursday, though, I've included a chance for showers mainly for the coast and even some of the inland areas, but I think everyone else may have to hold off until next Friday. But of course, that's still a long ways out. We're not going to really set that in stone just yet. There's a look at your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. About 3,000 feet at its lowest, and then of course it starts to kind of level off at about 3,500 feet. Modoc County, I've got you at about 3,500 feet, maybe a little bit lower than that at times, and we'll probably be looking at some chain requirements throughout the day. Even in Modoc County, of course, in the eastern mountains, plenty of chain requirements as we have seen. 38 for Chester, 36 in Mineral and Paradise, about 45 degrees. And for the valley to the south, temperatures mainly in the upper 40s to low 50s. Of course, that wet weather could see some isolated thunderstorms here for tomorrow as well. And you know, it's not Christmas tomorrow and it's not Christmas on the 7-day forecast, but today is. So we have that one last little feel of that Christmas joy with that background of that Christmassy feel. But of course, by tomorrow, we'll be back to normal. Christmas will be behind us and we'll be getting ready to start off and get ready to kick off a new year of 2026, and that'll be our next focus, right? But there you can see, looking at your 7-day forecast for Red Bluff, yeah, you're going to be dry for Saturday, Sunday, and most likely through a good portion of next week. Your 7-day forecast for Redding, upper 40s for Friday, Saturday. Could see some thunderstorms tomorrow, maybe even that convergence sign. That's something we'll be watching. And it's dry for the weekend, dry through most of next week with temperatures generally in the mid to upper 50s. Well, that's going to do it for us today, folks. Hope you had yourself a wonderful Christmas with your family, with your friends, or however it is you celebrate. I know I did. I was with you, trying to keep you informed with what's going on with the weather, but I was able to spend some time with my family, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you all so much for watching, and for those of you that have just discovered Weather NorCal, welcome, and I hope you're finding that this is a useful and a reliable source of weather information that you can always come to 24/7. So I appreciate you coming in and joining us, and I'd appreciate it too if you tell your friends and family who don't know about Weather NorCal. Tell them about it. Tell them about the app. Tell them about the website. Tell them about YouTube, the works. However it is you watch Weather NorCal, tell them about it, and let's make this thing grow even more. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and live on Coffee with Krueger at 6:30. Have yourselves a great night.
When you see flashing lights, someone's life depends on us.
And while we're out helping crash victims, we need your help to keep us safe.
Move over, slow down, it's the law, it protects everyone.
Our crews are out here every day, keeping the roads safe for you and your family.
We're often the last ones on scene, and we want to make it home safe too.
Protect those who protect you, slow down and move over.